At first glance, Dave the Diver looks to be a simple adventure game that promises scuba and fishing with a side order of sushi. Having not known anything about the game before launch, I was sure that it would be a passing distraction, something to squeeze in before reviewing Mario Wonder or the Metal Gear collection. But now, having dived beneath the surface, I realise I was wrong. So what makes Dave the Diver a contender for your attention? Let's check our oxygen tanks, don our flippers, and dive right in. Dave the Diver tells the story of Dave, who ends his vacation to join his friend Cobra and a multitude of other characters as they start a sushi bar next to a diving spot called the Giant Blue Hole. It's a mysterious diving location that changes in both layout and ecology constantly. The premise starts off simple: dive for fish during the day and sell sushi at night. Diving consists of side-scrolling exploration element that unravels into its own adventure early on in the game. The further you dive, the more exotic fish you can hunt, which unlocks more expensive sushi to sell. At first, you're limited by your gear as to how far you can dive, but that can be upgraded later on using your smartphone. But more on that later. The diving portion of the game has predators to evade, special food items to discover, weapon upgrades, and interesting boss fights. It can be quite challenging too, as you manage your oxygen levels, carrying capacity, and fight off barracudas and sharks that lead to some tight escapes. Perishing in the ocean means you can only bring one item back from your dive, making the risk and reward factor of diving a challenging and rewarding experience. There are several times where I surfaced without completing my current mission in order to preserve my haul. There are missions that are given to you by the many colourful characters of Dave's world that range from collecting starfish for research to obtaining your gunsmith's waifu anime statue. These can be completed at your own pace, but as you can dive twice a day, once in the morning and once in the afternoon, most of these missions can be completed on the day that you get them, if your gear is up to scratch. Managing and manning the sushi bar is a completely different world from what is below the surface. You start managing recipes from your daily diving haul and eventually end up upgrading them while managing staff, decor, and even social media. You upgrade the restaurant by reaching a certain amount of followers, pleasing critics, and then passing certification, which unlocks more staff and recipe slots, allowing you to make more money. Once you have set your menu, you open the bar and man the floor by pouring green tea for guests and serving their sushi. You have to find that line between stamina for rushing plates, cleaning up trays, and trying to keep guests happy to get those precious social media likes to help keep the bar going. You won't please everyone, and eventually the bar will become too much to handle just by yourself, meaning that you have to hire and train staff to pick up the slack. None of it's a chore, and I found managing the bar was an exciting venture, especially later on in the game when things really opened up. Your smartphone becomes your window to the world for both diving and management aspects, with new apps being made available to download, which add more core mechanics to the game. You can craft weapons to keep pirates and sharks at bay, upgrade your gear to hold more fish and dive deeper, and manage your socials as well. There's plenty more to discover as well, but instead of talking about it here, I hope you get the same sense of joy and wonder I did when you unlock them. Speaking of the game opening up, gameplay elements are constantly added throughout your playtime, as well as new mini-games and level concepts. Core mechanics that are added simply add more fun and in-depth management to the game, whereas at other times you are treated to a unique gameplay section of the game. Sometimes they don't always work, but they also don't overstay their welcome either. One of the best parts about the game is that there are no time restrictions on moving forward, with the exception of VIP guests, allowing you to take your time to perfect your sushi recipes or gather materials for crafting at your own pace. The art style is amazing, the characters are full of personality and charm, and the beautiful pixel art style cutscenes are as amazingly satisfying as they are stylish. Cutscenes never seem to bore, and they offer their own offbeat Scott Pilgrim style swagger that, while ridiculous in nature, never fails to entertain. Characters are weird and wacky, ranging from the stoic Bancho, a sushi chef who lives and breathes his creations, to a washed-up Ash Ketchum fanboy who paddles around in an amusement park boat. Each character adds something to the game, whether it be a new app on your phone or an in-depth mechanic that will open up the game even more. The story and humour resembles that of a classic Ron Gilbert of Monkey Island fame, and it doesn't take itself too seriously. For my vision-impaired gamers, there are no accessibility options, unfortunately, when it comes to text size or colourblind modes. Since the scale of Dave, the fish, and the icons for sushi when tending the bar are small, I would recommend downloading the free demo first to see if it suits you. There is an option to turn off button mashing skills though for people who might not have good dexterity in their hands, which makes tasks like reeling in fish a bit easier. Whether exploring the depths or running yourself ragged at the sushi bar, your ears are treated to a funky lo-fi hip-hop selection or a Hawaiian-style tropical soundtrack depending on the situation. 1 minute there's a gentle strum of a ukulele backed with a 16-bit beat that switches into a cultural juxtaposition of oriental hip-hop beat with a catchy bass line. The sound production is high and you never tire of those satisfying hit noises when you land a fish, or the gentle sound of the water as you explore the depths of the giant blue hole. The characters aren't voice acted, but they have an Animal Crossing or Star Fox sound that conveys their individual personality. It's all really well done, and despite the normal practice of looping music, I regularly found myself bopping along to the beat, being fully immersed in the game's score. I'm about 15 hours in, and if you'll excuse the pun, I feel like I'm still in the shallow end of the game, which keeps introducing new mechanics and mini-games. It has an addictive gameplay loop, obscenely funny moments, and it just oozes style and swagger throughout. Dave the Diver is an incredible game that I would have no issues recommending to pretty much everyone. Much like the skeptical critic entering Dave's Sushi Bar for the first time, I too was ready to judge by looking at what was on the surface. But after diving deeper, I have been completely charmed by this incredible adventure. So, what's it like? Dave the Diver is like a cross between a Kairosoft management game and Stardew Valley. I award it a 94 out of 100.